Triply EDC back again with another knife video. These are two knives that were lent to the channel by Mark Goldstein. Thank you, Mark, for always being a great friend of the channel, and you were one of the people that makes this channel possible to do a lot of these types of reviews. So thank you very much. This is the Viper Knives Easy Open Spear Collector's Knives Editions, and this is the Collector Knives Edition of the Viper Swayback. So these are two very interesting knives that I am so glad I got a chance to take a look at. I'm going to go ahead and go through the good and the bad of each. I was going to give these their own separate videos, but I decided to do it together because there's some things and some differences in these that I thought I needed to point out, and rather than point them out in both of them, I just decided to do one together. So let's go ahead and do some size comparisons of these. First of all, the size comparison to each other is that they're basically the same size, right? And let's go ahead and take the size comparison with the Benchmade Proper. A lot of people are familiar with the size of the Proper. Again, this is about the same size as the Proper. Here is the Real Steel Luna. About the same size as that as well. Here is the Rough Rider work knife. Slightly smaller than the Rough Rider work knife. And here is the GEC Oilfield Jack, which is slightly bigger than these other two knives as well. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the good and the bad of these knives. So let me go ahead and start with the Easy Open here. I'm dropping it. Let me go ahead and start with the Easy Open. So the thing that I love about this knife right off the bat is the Easy Open. So one of the things that drives me nuts about slip joints is nail nicks. I do not like nail nicks. I don't mind nail nicks if you have, you know, a large enough blade sticking out the top where you can just grab it, right? I don't mind that if I can grab it at all. However, I do mind when I have to, you know, go fight for it and stick my nail in. So even though I love GEC, right, here, because there's two blades, I can't just grab the top of this blade. I really would love to, but I do have to use the nail nick with this GEC blade. But this is a single blade. It has a nice relief cutout here, and it's very easy to pull it out, and I definitely appreciate that. Also, the blade shape on here is really nice. So it has this nice swedge up top here, and it has a pretty nice thin edge that it gets to, and it's just a spear point, which is a really, really usable knife, especially in a usable blade shape, especially in a slip joint. So I'm very, very in love with that. I also really like, see this sharpening choil right here? The way they did the sharpening choil is very nice, especially, you know, how it comes, you know, it doesn't come all the way out to where this plunge grind ends, but it comes out far enough that you don't need to worry about the plunge grind messing with your stones or anything, or your stones messing with the plunge grind, I should say. So that is nice as well. Also, this little piece right here, it almost acts like on a balisong trainer where you have that nub telling you which is the sharp side, right? If you accidentally push the blade in, that's going to hit your hand before the blade, which I think is a great thing. So love that as well, especially since I tend to hold my knives like this, and that is a possibility. You know, when I'm choked up on the knife here, I'm going to get that in my hand before I get the actual blade, which is quite nice. The notch also really is a good place for my pinky to go. I find that I end up choking up just in my natural grip because my pinky ends up going in this slot, and I have large glove size hands, so this is a full 4-finger knife that is pretty easily 4 fingers. It also works very well if you put your ring finger in there as far as that goes, but I really prefer this choked up grip where the pinky goes in there. You do sort of have to choose a finger to go in there, otherwise it's just going to feel weird and uncomfortable. Overall, though, the ergonomics are pretty good on it. I would say they're about a 7 out of 10, which is not bad for a slip joint. And one of the reasons for that is the carbon fiber scales here are contoured, right? I don't know if you can tell that, but, well, you could probably tell here, right? So these scales are flat, and these are contoured. So quite nice to be able to see that these are contoured. Very, very happy with that. The carbon fiber on this is really nice carbon fiber, I have to say. And I haven't had a lot of experience with Viper knives, but what I'm seeing so far out of this is very nice as far as the quality of what they put into it. The blade is M390, which is one of the best steels on the market. No qualms about that at all. It's going to give you a great mix of toughness, edge retention, stain corrosion resistance, and ease of sharpening. So you're going to get a great mix of those things. Ease of sharpening is probably the least. It's probably going to be harder to sharpen than as tough as it is. I don't know if that makes any sense, but the other three categories are going to be better than the ease of sharpening. Let's put it that way. So yeah, the M390 is going to be great, a great steel on this, and it's going to be more than adequate for pretty much any slip joint that you would possibly need. So great steel choice. I love the fact that they put some screws in here to disassemble if you need to. That is not always something that's present in slip joints. You don't always get, a lot of times you get pin construction. Now on the Benchmade, there actually is screws on the other side. The pins are essentially, they're faux pins, but a lot of knives have pin construction. This is the GEC, it's pin construction on both sides, right? You can't take this thing apart, but, and here's a Rough Rider as well, pin construction. You can't take this thing apart, right? But you can take this apart. And you can take this apart, right, over here. And you can take this apart. So when companies do that, especially with these modern traditionals, I really love that. It's fantastic. And so I'm very happy with that. I think the aesthetic on this thing is also really nice. I love the aesthetic. I love the swedge here, you know, as part of the Easy Open. Just a great knife overall in that regard. The price on this is also really good. I mean, think about it. You're getting M390, you're getting carbon fiber, you're getting, you know, really nice fit and finish. I mean, look, I don't know if you can, here we go. Look at the fit and finish on here. You have a crown spine, right? Crown spine. So that means that, you know, they really put a lot of good finishing into this, right? The edges are all rounded on the steel frame lock here, I mean, on the steel structure here. You've got some milling on the inside, not a ton, but some milling on the inside. You've got a lanyard hole that's right here in the back. Now, you know that's made for a lanyard. It's essentially to wrap around that last post. You know that's made for a lanyard because the blade doesn't come anywhere near it, right? There's no other reason to have that except for the fact that the blade doesn't come anywhere near it, so that's for a lanyard, right? So all those things are great on this knife. And I don't know if I mentioned the price yet. I'm sorry if I skipped over it, but $125 is the price on this thing. And for like I said, carbon fiber M390, the fit and finish you get on this thing, this is an excellent price. I'm very happy to see that. And these are still available on Collector Knives. I think it's collectorknives.net. I don't know if they're .com. I think they're .net. But yeah, very cool. And I think if he hasn't sold it already, Mark may be making this one available. By the time this video posts, it'll probably already be back in his hands. But if you're interested in it, contact me and I'll get in touch with Mark. So, by the way, I'm not trying to sell you guys on this. I'm genuinely liking a lot of what I see here. So, another thing, as far as what's bad here, what do I not like here? I don't like the pivot, you know, here, because not that the pivot is unattractive. It is somewhat attractive, but as you can see, the way they decided to mill it out, it's not flush with the carbon fiber, and it's on purpose. It's by design, but I just don't like it, right? So it bothers me that it's not flush. So that's, I mean, that's kind of a nitpick, but it's part of the issue, right? Or one of the things. The thing that I don't like the most about this blade is this has a very, when I say it's easy open, I don't know if this is by design or not, but this is really easy open. I mean, the pull on this is very light. The pull on the Benchmade proper, which a lot of people give it hell for, is about 2 to 3 times as stiff as this. This is very not stiff. I'd say the pull on this is like a 2.5 to a 3 out of 10, right? It's very light, the pull on this. I'll say it's a 3, okay? That's a very light pull. Now, contrast this is a Viper Knives, right? This one right here, I would say is an 8 out of 10. Maybe even an 8.5. Nice and stiff, right? And a lot of people like that walk and talk. I like that a lot, right? So that's what you're going to see on that one. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this one, the Swayback. So I am not normally a fan of Swaybacks, and I really, really like this one. And honestly, Mark is selling this one too, I believe, but he offered for me to buy it. And if I had more money right now, I probably would. This thing is really, really nice, but I'm just very happy with this thing, right? So again, this is M390. You're going to get a nice Wharncliffe blade right here. It's very, very nice for all the detail work and everything that you're going to do. Nice and thin and slicey, as you can see here. Very, very nice and thin. Come on. There you go. You can see it. Yeah, so like that as well. Like I said, really nice, stiff, like 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. Walk and talk. I really like to see that. This micarta on here is really nice. That's titanium, so it's a titanium bolster with green canvas micarta. Now, there's a couple other versions of this. I think there's a wood version. Can't remember which wood it is. There's a natural micarta version. I think might be a carbon fiber version, but I can't remember. But this micarta, though, is the perfect amount of grip. The perfect amount of grip. So I would really, really recommend getting the micarta version. I wouldn't want the wood version of this, even if it looked great, because the micarta just feels so good in hand, right? So definitely very happy with the overall aesthetic here. Very happy with the handle. Very happy with the materials. Like I said, M390 titanium micarta. This has the same, you can disassemble it just like the other one. Take it apart. It's got crowning on both the back and the blade, continuing onto the blade, which is beautiful. I mean, on a slip joint, crowning of the blade I think is beautiful. You don't need, it's just an extra finishing detail that makes the knife really, really nice. I like the pivot much more on this one. It is a very simple traditional pivot with just a Torx screw. I shouldn't say it's traditional. It's traditional on modern knives, but not on traditional knives. But I quite like this a lot, and there's not really a whole lot I have to say wrong about this knife. I think the price on this one is like $130. I think this ranges from $130 to $145-ish, based on what material you're getting, because it comes in a few different materials, as I said. But this version I think is like $132 or something, $133, and I don't think they have the green micarta one anymore. I didn't see it on the site, but they have natural canvas micarta, and that one's just as nice. So yeah, this feels great in hand. I'd say the ergonomics on this are a good about 7 out of 10, which is great for not just for a slip joint, but for a swayback. Because honestly, I normally hate swaybacks, and this still has the problem, as far as the bad, this still has the problem where the swayback comes down like this. But overall, it's a great shape, and I'm very happy with it. It has a nice half stop right there, and because it's nice and stiff, you don't have to worry about this thing closing. You're going to get spring pushback, up to about here, where you're going to get that pushback. And so you really have to be, forcing this if you're going to cause the blade to come back on your hand. Now, it has a really hard half stop, whereas the half stop on this is not hard, right? It sort of comes around and it's not that hard of a half stop, and it's not hard to break that half stop. But this is a hard half stop to break as well. So this one, I think, is going to be overall the safer knife if you're worried about the pull on it. But yeah, they're both quite nice and very pleasantly surprised by Viper knives. I have not really had a chance to check out Viper knives before, and these are great. They're great. Honestly, I think they're better than the Lion Steel knives that I had on earlier, and they're definitely finished nicer than the Proper, right? The Proper's finishing, is not nearly as good as this. The finishing is great on this. So now, do I still love the Proper? Yeah, I still love the Proper. It's just a great, utilitarian slip joint. But if I was going to spend the money, if you asked me which one would I rather have out of the Proper or these, honestly, this one would be my favorite, right? So I love the Proper a lot, and it's really good for a lot of what it does. but this Swayback is just blowing me away. I know I've rambled on for the Swayback for a little bit, but I really, really like it quite a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. But I hope this is helpful to you guys, especially if you're interested in slip joint. Let me know if you guys want more slip joint content. Go ahead and drop a comment below. Let me know. This is Triple E EDC signing off. And if go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already to get more content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching.